It is really ridiculous to hear people, and especially the traditional media, still talk about the same nonsense and still trying to manipulate the world into believing certain narratives, which I don't know who made them up. Today I was just watching a short clip from UK BBC, I think it was, and they were talking about Steven Bartlett, the Diary of the CEO podcast, and how he started to now drift more into these health podcasts, and he has these guests that speak about health. Some of them are doctors and some of them are nutritional specialists, and the BBC was getting like 4 or 5 experts which were fact-checking all these health episodes, and they found out that on average there were 14 potentially harmful and dangerous claims for the world, where they talk about that people should immediately stop chemotherapy and eat only keto, or have a certain diet change, or that sugar is causing cancer, and all these claims which they take out of the blue, take out of context, and then they are saying how harmful and how dangerous it is. It is so unbelievable that they're still doing this game, they're still playing it, and they think that we're buying into this. I don't know who is watching the news, who their audience is. I just saw that the main Swiss television network is also letting go of a lot of people, and they have to keep pushing their operations lower and lower, and they're still trying to do the same things that worked in the past. And now in the age of internet, we have the options, we can hear the truth, we can see what's actually there, but they're still trying to push those silly narratives on us. Another funny thing about the Swiss television network and radio network is that they are actually forcing the Swiss citizens, they all have to pay them a yearly fee, which is quite substantial, just because they exist. Like, we have to pay for getting the radio and for getting the newspaper and getting the television, the news channels.
Newspaper, I get it. You have to pay for newspaper, but television and radio, we have to pay as well in my country.
Even if you don't use it. Even if you don't ever listen to the radio, you don't ever watch the news, you just are on the internet, you still are forced to pay, because that's the only way how they can sustain themselves.
Plus a lot of commercials. I was reading this book about that people are just being ordered to die. And there is this author explaining that, for example, chemotherapy, if you have some cancer problem, cancer diagnosis, and you go the normal route, like you go to the cancer treatment, you do your chemotherapy, you do radiotherapy, and in case you die there, then you died of cancer, and nobody really marks it as that person died of chemotherapy, or that person died of radiation. But people who are dying because they decided to do different route,
God forbid,
then it's just like really putting bad light on these different routes, because they are just really put down. And I believe not everything is working, but I believe also that not 100% of the radiation and chemotherapy is working. And
absolutely not. They have horrible statistics.
And I believe that every person has to choose their path, and I believe that every person has their own story to write and their own mistakes to make. If you decide to go your way and it will work, how come nobody is interested in it? Nobody is really caring for that you've healed or something, and people are just interested in numbers of the radiation and chemotherapy. Then big pharmas can profit, and I know that we are in this vicious cycle here. We have these pesticides and herbicides. We are buying the seeds, so the people who are planting the seeds have to buy this seed which is already mutated. Genetically modified is mutation, okay, genetic mutation.
So they are not going to be harmed by the pesticides and the herbicides which they're going to spray. They're going to be resilient to that.
And these herbicides and pesticides are produced under the same wings as the big pharma drugs. I was just curious from my own perspective that if you are having this fear of having something bad in the body and you have diagnosis, you have to still then go into this war with yourself, with society, and with these drugs they put in you. And if you survive all of this, you are absolutely absolutely like steel soul, or I don't know how to name it.
That's the thing. They are gonna team up with your whole family, with as many people as they possibly can that have big influence on you,
through the fear.
and
usually.
they're trying to manipulate you and get you into those treatments. And
Yep.
the lady that was then on that news show was saying how harmful that is, and it's dangerous, this misinformation. And some celebrity who chose to not do chemotherapy and she healed another way, she's sharing this publicly. This is very harmful. And yeah, I know it's harmful. It's harmful for your business. It's harmful that you could lose a customer.
But we don't want this to have like only the guilt and blame game here in this video. We want you to say and remind to all of us, also to us here, two people making this video, that we really have to never forget who we are and what our values are and who we are inside, because there is all the answers for you, and there is all the common sense in you. And if you are dealing with anything in your life, you always have to go within, and you always have to know that there is always some outcome for you, and you are going to be the one choosing this outcome. You remembered Eileen, the lady which grew her rectum back, or that other lady from Dr. Joe Dispenza's work from his movie The Source, she grew her thyroid back. What's more for us, and what are we kept away from? I am asking about these things because now in this age of information, ignorance is a choice, as Dr. Joe Dispenza says. And if we have all the right information, and we have plenty of information, we have to tune into ourselves, into our heart, within us, in this common sense, in this simplicity, and ask ourselves, what is there for me? Why am I having this? Why am I sick? Why am I dealing with this trouble in my life? And ask inside, is it gonna be all right? And is it gonna be, what is it? What's the story? What I'm going to live from now on? Either you step into your future and you say or you just say to yourself, a lot of people say to themselves, I'm just going to be fine.
How naive do we have to be as humans that we think there's only one solution to a certain disease? For 8-9 billion people on this planet, there's only one thing that works, and everything else is bloody evil. Everything else should be banned and should be fact-checked and should be dismissed. And if you don't choose the traditional route, the pharmaceutical route, then you are a traitor, and you should be banned for speaking publicly about other ways, about lifestyle changes, about changing your diet, about starting to change your thoughts and changing your energy and starting to envisioning a future that you want to live. No, this is all nonsense, all pseudoscience.
For example, my story is that 10 years ago I was about to accept certain treatment, and I was visiting a doctor, and before me there was going a man who was like a basketball player, really huge man, and I was prescribed the same dose of those treatment drugs as that person in front of me.
Because it's written like this in the medical books.
Yes, but that person was twice as tall, like he was huge, and I was like quite small lady.
Of course.
And I asked that doctor, even though I was scared and I was feeling really stressed, I anyways was like, you're prescribing me the same dosage as to that person before me? Like, is it even like possible that it will be effective for him and not too much for me? And the doctor looked at me. I'll never forget that look, like, wow, there's somebody thinking.
How dare you question my authority?
And then he decided to give me a little less dosage, But anyways, if I didn't ask, I would feel maybe sicker or something, and Like, people don't ask these questions, but I had this huge man in front of me and I just had to ask this question because it was so obvious. So I'm just saying that these people are not meaning badly. The doctors are always swearing to the Hippocrates. They make this promise that they will always care for the highest good of people, and they really mean that well. And they think that this what they were taught in medical school. It's
the only thing.
It's the only thing. It's the only way. But they didn't know that the big pharma and all this whole system is basically writing the scripts for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sad.
And also providing the money, the resources for everything.
Yeah, exactly. That's the saddest thing, because this is such a huge system, huge coloss, that we can't break it in any part. It would totally have to break apart fully. And what I feel now is that people are asking questions and they are thinking. They started to think. They see so many different opinions and ideas on Instagram or anywhere on internet, and now they have to just really ask, hey, is it really only this path and nothing else? I can't change my diet and I'll be feeling better. Are you really serious that if I eat chocolate every day and I continue eating cakes, pasta, all these super mega glucose spiking, insulin spiking things and foods, I'll feel still the same, and it will not change if I start to have like limited sugar diet or something like that.
Don't change a thing, just take that chemotherapy.
And one doctor looked at me 10 years ago and said that the diet has no effect on what I was dealing with. And now it's been proven hundreds and hundreds of times, or thousands, or
millions of times, and people are healing with diet.
Diet is one of the key factors,
Mm-hmm.
because also thanks to the diet you're changing, you're new you. And also what you wear is your new you, and environment.
Your thoughts and your emotions.
Yeah.
We believe that the thoughts and emotions really do the most in personal change and changing anything in our life. And there was one comment underneath that BBC video that I really liked, who said, "Don't worry guys, I think people who watch a 2.5 hour episode from Diary of a CEO have enough critical thinking to make their own well-informed decisions." Like, it's not that this content is shown to a bunch of lambs that are just hypnotized, and whatever they say, oh okay, stop chemo. It's not like that. It's just hilarious.
It's not possible to listen all the advices in every podcast. Even though Diary of CEO, you can't listen every specialist and believe to everything what they say, because it's so many information.
You're forced to be critically thinking.
That's because you are forced to have very critical thinking and be very picky about what you are going to follow, because it's such a palette of basically offers that you just don't go for one. You can't, because it's so many of them. And I believe that these medias and so on, they still try to have some voice somewhere, but the more they are going to do this, what they are doing, the less they are going to be trustworthy, and people will be just laughing at it.
Yeah, like I was laughing at it, it's hilarious to see this, and we are really experiencing a great shift now because of this, because people are waking up and they see what's actually going on behind the scenes. And it's funny that all over the world the news is just always having the same opinions about everything, and that's the one which we should believe, and everything outside of their convention is should be banned and is evil. It's just funny to see that, and I'm glad that I feel that it's falling apart, that they have less strength. They're still trying to hold on with all they got, and it might still take some time. but people are waking up and they are going to choose for themselves, and there are so many people on this planet. There's not just one path that works for everybody. For some people, Dr. Joe Dispenza's work will work, for somebody else a diet, for somebody else chemotherapy, and we need to respect and honor each person's individual choice.
Yesterday I was consulting a man with type 2 diabetes, and he was like, I was asking him very carefully questions about his health, and he said, diets don't work for me, you know, I've tried diets, I was totally suffering, I can suffer as much as I can. I was having only white bread or rye bread all the time, whole day, and I was having, my glucose went through the roof. And I'm like, yes, that's your problem. Doctor said I had to eat these bread, you know, I had to eat bread and I had to eat 6 times a day and so on. And I was like, yes, but what if you substitute it with protein? How about you will measure it with a glucometer, how much your glucose is spiking every single day. So we actually found a little path for this guy to understand about a little bit about insulin, about his glucose. And he said, okay, I might try it. It makes sense for me that insulin is actually not able to get into my cells, okay? And I put even more into my body, and I have to make my body more insulin sensitive. And no, you know, and he was a bit open for different view on things, but he was actually really convinced. For a few times I've already talked to him before, like 4 months ago, and he was so convinced that the diet doesn't work because he is trying to eat only bread and he has nothing else but bread, and it doesn't work, and he's totally suffering on the bread and he's hungry and so on. And I'm like, yes, because you eat red. So I explained to him, and there is people like this all the time somewhere, you know, they listen to the doctors say, hey, it's okay for you, the bread, you know, they have no idea about the nutrition and stuff. And then there will be maybe another person who cured type 2 diabetes. Who knows? Who knows? I'm not saying that you always can cure it absolutely if you don't do the work with yourself, with your mind, with your body also, and you focus only on the diet. But my friend who was having type 2 pre-diabetes, he has healed from this problem. So with a keto diet, for example. But it's also about lifestyle changes, you know. He didn't have to buy burgers from Burger King anymore, and he was eating excessively and so on. Of course it's going to cost something if you're still shoving something into the body, into the system. You will just clog it, and the body has nowhere else to put it, right? So that was just an example from our life currently.
So this was it from us today.
We hope this video made you think a little bit more and be more convinced that yourself and your inner compass is the most important thing in this planet, especially with all the information flow which we have every single day, which we have to deal with. So we just wanted to open your mind a little bit more and inspire you, and we hope we did that exactly. And you can share with us your experiences underneath this video, how you have changed your mind and how you have opened up to different things, so other people can be also inspired from this.
And also open up for the possibility that when you maybe hear somebody having great success with keto, but that's something that you know they had great success and it could work for you, but maybe you're really more drawn to something else. That's also okay. That you can also find your own path. That's absolutely fine. You don't have to do what anybody else is doing. Thank you so much for being with us today. And if you would like to be a little bit longer with us, we also have this video here for you next.